I'm Insomniac, and this is military grade coffee. Alright, now military grade coffee company, by what I could see, only has this one blend at the moment, and on the website it claims that it's one of the strongest coffees available. On their Facebook page, however, it claims to be the strongest coffee in the world. I don't know if that's true, but that's their claim.
That's crazy talk!
It's organic, fair trade coffee, non-GMO, so for those of you who care about that sort of thing, this could be an option.
How white are you?
One cool thing about this company is that it is co-owned by a military veteran, which of course would be fitting given the name and the overall theme of this coffee. But even better than that, 10% of all the proceeds from this coffee actually go to helping military veterans and their families through Navy SEAL Jason Redmond's Combat Wounded Coalition. And it actually says on the Facebook page that they eventually hope to get to the point where they're 100% nonprofit. That's very admirable. The packaging really isn't anything special. It kind of gets the whole military feel across, and the explanation on the back, as well as everything you can get on the website, does kind of, you know, keep pounding into your head how strong the coffee's supposed to be and that it's double caffeinated and all of this stuff. But overall, I think that the packaging is almost borderline cheesy. I think they went a little bit overboard with it, but you know, to me the packaging doesn't matter. It's what's in the packaging. So if it's good-ass coffee, I don't really care what the packaging looks like.
Can I get an amen?
Now, one thing I did notice on here is the brewing ratio, which says use 2.5 tablespoons per 6 ounces.
Holy shit!
I usually use 1 tablespoon per cup, and some people that drink my coffee think that's strong. So, I mean, this is a really concentrated dose of coffee. So what I'm going to try to do here on camera for you is review it both ways, which is to use their exact specifications for brewing the coffee. I'll try the coffee that way and give you my tastes and impressions. Then I'll make it the way that I make regular coffee and let you know what I think in comparison. So I'm gonna go brew some of this up and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I brewed up a pot of this military grade coffee with their recommendations, which, like I said earlier, is 2.5 tablespoons per 6 ounces, which, I mean, that's super concentrated. And the coffee's pretty much blacker than the cup I'm holding it in, but let's see what it smells like. The main aroma that I actually get off of this coffee is a super, super dark chocolate. That's actually very nice. Then there's a little bit of a sourdough aroma, and the last one's actually road tar. Now, luckily, that's not the strongest aroma that you get of the three, but it does kind of smell like when you pass a construction site. There is a little bit of that in the aroma. But let's see what the coffee tastes like. As per always, anytime I'm going to review a coffee, this is black, because obviously adding shit to the coffee is going to adjust the flavor, and I don't want to do that here on camera, so this is black coffee. Let's take a sip and see what we get. Well, it's a really smooth mouthfeel overall. I'm getting one main flavor, and that pretty much is hot dirt. Now, I'm not dismissing it as it tastes like crap or that it tastes like mud. No, none of that. I actually mean dirt, like soil. It has a good kind of mineral quality to it. That's really all I'm getting, though. The website describes flavors of chocolate and caramel, and I'm really not getting either of those. I'm kind of just getting dirt. Where on the aroma, I was getting a really nice chocolate. Now, the aftertaste of this coffee does have a bit of bitterness to it. It's not terrible. I don't think I'd have any problem drinking this whole cup of coffee black. It definitely doesn't overshadow the kind of warm dirt and mineral flavors that I was getting, but it's definitely there. And like I said, the finish really lingers with you. It kind of has a thick, heavy, strong mouthfeel to it. So unfortunately, you get the one set of flavors when you're drinking the coffee, and then that little bit of bitterness that I'm talking about, that's what really lingers. Now, if you don't mind a bit of bitterness in a strong coffee, then you're not going to mind this at all. And if you're somebody who puts cream and/or sugar or other shit in your coffee, you're not going to notice it at all. It's very bold, pretty smooth, a little bit of bitterness, but if you're a strong coffee drinker, I think that you could definitely enjoy this brew. Again, this was the concentrated dose, though, so I'm going to go make it again the way I normally make my coffee, which is 1 tablespoon per cup. And I'm going to try it one more time and see if there's any differences, see if maybe the bitterness isn't there, if it's not as concentrated, etc., etc. So I'll be back then. Okay, I went and brewed up another pot of this with the regular proportions or dose, if you will, that I use when I brew pretty much any coffee. as opposed to the double or more that they recommended for their dose. So let's see if it made any difference in terms of the flavors or aromas or strength or any of that. As far as aromas go, it's actually all exactly the same, except a little bit less of the road tar thing that I described earlier. And now there's actually a little bit of a nutty aroma that I was not getting at all before that reminds me mostly of hazelnut. Well, let's see if the adjustment in coffee to water ratio made any difference with the flavors. Still very smooth, still has a good amount of kick and strength to it. And the main flavor that I get is definitely still that kind of earth and mineral or warm dirt, as I described it earlier, type of flavor, except now I'm getting a little bit more. There is a bit of a really faint mocha. It is not a main flavor, but it's definitely in there. It's kind of a background thing. It kind of trails at the end of the sip, but now there is a little bit of a faint mocha flavor in there. Now the aftertaste hasn't changed at all, and keep in mind that off camera, while I was making the new pot of coffee, I did rinse a good amount with some water, tried to clean the palate a little bit, this way I didn't have any lingering flavors from the last pot in there. And the aftertaste is exactly the same. It is still that slightly bitter aftertaste, very, very long lingering aftertaste, and it's exactly the same. That hasn't changed at all, despite the fact that I changed the brew ratio of coffee to water. No matter what, you definitely get the overall impression and feeling and flavor of boldness and strength, no matter which way you make it. So it's definitely consistent in that regard. So in my personal opinion, on a scale from 1 to 10 Mike Tysons, I would give military grade coffee 6.5 Mike Tysons. I wouldn't say it was outstanding or overall impressive. Definitely wasn't a bad coffee, but I didn't really get a lot of flavors. Like I said, there is a little bit of that bitterness there, which is to be expected sometimes with stronger coffees, but of course I don't really love it. So like I said, 6.5 Mike Tysons, I think that's fair. Now, what I can say though, if you're a fan of strong coffees, and especially if you're into supporting a cause such as the military and military family members, that's fantastic. I would definitely recommend picking up a bag of this. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I'm just making the overall point that it's not an exceptional coffee, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's what I think of the coffee. Pick up a bag if you have had this. Leave a comment below. I want to hear about your experience with it. Also, if you want to support this channel, go down below, check out my Patreon page. The link should be right up there at the top of the video description or somewhere down there. Sign up, and I'll see you all next time.